Alright guys, welcome back to another MCreator procedure tutorial. So today what I'm going to be covering is game rules for the procedure blocks, and we'll be looking at how they all work with Minecraft, and we'll also dip into the custom element for game rules as well for this tutorial. So they're all kind of linked, so I might as well cover it as well, and it's not a huge thing to cover, so it will be easy enough to put it all in one video. First things first, finding the blocks. You can find them under the world procedures, actions, and then scrolling down. For that, you have your logic game rule. This is only on server side, and so is the number game rule, which is also on server side. So we can use these game rules to select something that is like a number or a value. If you have a list of things that you want to do, you can actually use numbers to specify multiple things rather than using a logic value like true or false. So we'll be using the number value, which is a little bit more complicated, and I'll cover how to basically cap it at a range today as well. So the other one is under data, and if you scroll down a little bit, there are two ones here. It says get game rule, get logic game rule, and then there is the logic selector. So this also runs on server side only. And then we have the get number game rule, and then our selector, and then that's also going to run on server side only. So we're going to grab both of these, and I'm going to save for now. And we're going to create a new game rule right now. So let's go ahead and go to our new element, and then we're going to go to game rule, and we're going to go and set starting game mode. So this will be kind of like an example how you can set up a starting game mode, and we're going to create that. So you can see how it's basically assigned a machine name. This is going to be the name that's going to be visible when you're typing commands and other things like that. This name here is going to be in the world creation one. So basically something similar, starting game mode. So we'll just say something like that. And then we'll set some help text. This is only visible for the game creation, game mode selection. I'll be covering that in just a second. So let's go ahead and say survival 0. And then we can do comma, and then creative 1, and then we can go and set something like adventure equals 2, and then spectator, probably butchered that, that's okay, is going to be equal to 3. So we want a number value. We're just going to stick it under player because it has to do with player. We can put it under any of these tabs, which are found in the creative or the game creation menu. So when we're selecting game rules, it'll be listed under these ones. Because it has to do with player, we'll just keep it there. We also can select logic or number for this one. We're going to select number and set the default to 0. After that, what we can do is we can go ahead and create new mod element, and then we have this value here. We can go back to our procedure now, and when we select our value, we can see that it's going to show up at the top here, along with the vanilla game rules that are already in the game. So for example, we have this one under for selection, and we can see that the game rule starting game mode is here. Alright, so now that we have a number, this number can basically be set between in the negatives and positives right now. So what we need to do is we need to actually cap this number. So to do that, we're just going to create a simple if statement, and we're going to test if the logic value is greater than the maximum range that we want. So if this starting value, pardon me, not logic, the number is greater than the starting or the maximum number. So if it's greater than 3, what we want to do is we want to cap it at 3. So we're going to be setting it at 3 right below here. Then we want to test for the minimum value, and we can either do the minimum first or the maximum first, doesn't really matter. But we want to test if it's below 0, and then what we're going to do is we're going to cap it at 0 if it is. After that, we're going to use a very similar method to test for each value. So we're going to need to create 4 inputs for this if statement. And now because we have it all set up like this, what we could do is have a fallback one. So if any of the numbers are not correct, rather than have this, what we could do is we could just have it as a default value. This would work too. I like to generally cap it at a certain range just so it's more visible to what I've been doing. But both methods would work if you have an else statement. So that doesn't matter too much, but we're going to do just test for specific values because it's more user-friendly to see the numbers themselves. So we're going to set 0 for here. We're going to set 1, 2, and our final value is 3. So let's go ahead and go to player procedures, and then we can set the player game mode directly down here. And survival is 1, creative is 2, and then adventure is 3, and then finally spectator is 4. So if we go ahead and select spectator, it should be, or 3, pardon me, 2, 1, and 0. So that's all we really need to do, and we're going to run this on a global trigger when the player joins. Now remember, the game rules are only server-side, so we need to make sure that we have support for server-side when we're actually testing these values. It won't work for something that is client-side only, like a GUI or overlay, so make sure that you are only using it with the right kind of trigger, or it will not work or function as you would expect, because it only runs on the server side when it's running. All right, so once we've done that, we can go ahead and just basically player joins the world, and then this is running on server side as it's mentioned down here. So when the player joins the world, it's going to override the game mode for the player. All right, so we're in game. We're going to create a new single player world, and then we're going to go to, we'll leave this on survival, and then we'll go to the, we'll make sure that commands are enabled so we can use that later on. And we're going to leave it on survival though. Make sure that we do that so it's easier to test. And then what we're going to do is go to game rules, more game rules, and then we'll be able to scroll down a little bit, and there should be one that says starting game mode. This is our value that we have here. We also can see that the display name that we set, the one with the 2 words, is right here. This is the setting name. And if we look over on the number part here, we can see the machine name as well as the description. So that's where that part comes into handy. We're going to set the game mode to 1 to put us in creative. Now we're still going to be in survival when we join in, but when we actually load into the world, we're going to actually have our Gamerule script take over and put us in creative. So let's go ahead and create new world, and let's take a look, and we're in creative. So that's basically how you do that. Now, if you're already in an existing world, you don't have options to get to that menu. So what you can do is you can use commands to do /game mode or Gamerule, and there should be where is it? What did we name the Gamerule? It was starting game mode, and then you can set the value. So for example, if we wanted to go into spectator the next time that we reloaded the game, we can do that. So let's go ahead and pop out, and we'll pop in, and we're in spectator mode. So we can go through the ground and do a whole bunch of stuff with that. So it's pretty cool that you can actually use this for like config systems and stuff like that. It's very similar to how File Manager would work, only this is a more user-friendly version for the in-game settings and stuff like that. One suggestion that I have is when you're working with the game rules themselves, to put your mod namespace for the actual machine name and the description, so it's easier for people to find what you're creating. So for example, if we close out of here, we can create a new game rule. If we're doing something like for CCTV Craft, we would do CCTV Craft, and then we could do something like cameras or max cameras or something like that. And then when we have it here, it'll be CCTV Craft max cameras, and then we can give it like CCTV Craft max cameras. And this will make it a little bit easier for people to find. So let's go ahead and pop in game and we'll see how this basically looks. All right, so as you can see here, CCTV Craft is right at the top here because it's alphabetically ordered. So when you're looking for your mods and stuff, it's going to be based on the machine name or the description of the name for the thing. So for example, this is right at the top here because CCTV Craft is above D, so it basically spawns at the top. And we can see that it's a little bit easier to find as well because it has the name for the mod, it says what the property is, and we also have the value over on this side. So that's generally what I would suggest doing. And if we go into the game itself, we can actually find it a little bit easier as well. So if we go Gamerule, and then we can type CCTV Craft, and then it's right there. So it's all the game rules and stuff show up right when we are actually starting to try to find the actual game rule for the mod. So it's a little bit easier than just typing random values like max cameras or something like that, because then you know where it belongs to and stuff like that, and it doesn't conflict with other mods as well. So other than that, if you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, comment down below, rate the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Peace out.